Hello, good afternoon. Kumusta na kayo?
Good afternoon po, sir.
Good afternoon po, sir. Okay lang po kami.
Okay naman po.
So, long time no see. Tagal na tayong hindi nagkikita. So, anyway, uh, yung subject natin is project management. So, it is an elective subject of industrial engineering. So, we will try to discuss it in 6 meetings as per prescribed by the PUP education system. So, 6 meetings lang tayo. So, we will only have the 2 quizzes and wala tayong major exam. Instead, uh, you will be doing a project proposal at the end of the SEM, and then you have to present it uh, at the end of the semester. So, project proposals, discuss ko lang is you try to create a proposal of a project to where your specialization is math. So, kung halimbawa kayo ay IE, so you have to present a project based on your specialization. So, the project proposal requirement will be done by group, by a pair. So, it's for you to create your own partner or team. Basta ang requirement is 2 members only. So, yeah. So, to further explain what its project management is, let me just introduce you to our subject, the project management. So, project management. So, as you can see, these are all the projects that have been done in the past centuries. Like, for example, this one, the Pyramid of Giza, is also a project built by the Egyptians in honor of the death of their pharaoh. So ito is yung NASA space station wherein they built it to have a view or to watch the behavior of the Earth and any other astronomical event. Okay, pasensya na, meron kasing construction sa kabila. So anyway, as I discussed earlier, so these are all the projects. So yung Olympic, these are a project that has been done every 4 years. And then this one, the Man in the Moon, ito din ay isang project by the US to aggressively put a man on the moon. And then, ito mga e-games now, yung mga mobile games. And then this one, yung mga products naman related to health. So these are all the projects that have been developed. And systematically, it is being introduced by people, we call them the project manager, who develop this kind of projects. So what is a project? So a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. So it's not just limited to a product, it's also been made to deliver a service or a result or even a process. So the unique product, service, or result, projects are undertaken to fulfill objectives by producing deliverables. An objective is defined as an outcome towards which work is to be directed, a strategic position to be attained, a purpose to be achieved, result to be obtained, a product to be produced, or a service to be performed. A deliverable is defined as any unique and verifiable product, result, or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced to complete a process, phase, or project. So deliverables may be tangible or intangible. When we say tangible, meaning yung products is physically present or nahahawakan. Intangible naman is something that, for example, product or a product that is kumbaga concept, mga ganun, So, hindi siya nahawakan in short. So, intangible. So, the purpose of project is to produce an output. Yun lang naman yung parang purpose niya. To produce an output, whether it's a product, a process, a service, or a result. So, even a result. So, kaya yung sa mga nagko-conduct ng research, they call it project because at the end of their project, they must have an output. So, fulfillment of project objectives. A unique product that can be either a component of another item, an enhancement or correction to an item, or a new end item in itself. A unique service or a capability to perform a service, a unique result, such as an outcome or documents, or a unique combination of one or more products, services, or results. So even pag nag-create ka ng project, it is not usually naman na at the end of the project, you will have a one output. So it can be either product or a combination. Product or service, results. So, i-relate ko ulit sa research. That's why in research, we have this kind of expected output based on the 7 P's. So, in 7 P's, that is a product, people services, patent, places, or even sabihin policy, or even that it is included in the output. So the temporary nature of products indicates that the project has a definite beginning and end. So temporary does not necessarily mean a project has a short duration. The end of the project is reached when one or more of the following is true. So meron tayong tinatawag na temporary endeavor. So ano yung mga condition niya? The project objective have been achieved. So the objective will not or cannot be met. Funding is exhausted or no longer available for allocation to the project. The need for the project no longer exists. The human or physical resources are no longer available, and the project is terminated for legal cost or convenience. So this, we call it temporary endeavor kapag na-met niya yung mga ito. So una, the project objective has been achieved. Even though doon sa project duration is mas mahaba pa siya, pero na-achieve mo na yung objective ng project mo. So the project must be stopped. So we call it temporary endeavor. Also, we call it temporary endeavor when the objectives will not or cannot be met. So that's why there are always evaluator for the project proposal. So tinitingnan nila if the project is feasible or not, or if the project is too good to be true para ma-achieve niya yung expected output. Funding is exhausted or no longer available for the allocation to the project, especially kapag yan ay bounded with money or bounded siya by grants. So yung mga nagbibigay ng funding for that particular project, when that is exhausted, syempre wala ka nang pang-continue ng project. So we call it a quit. So the need for a project no longer exists. Hindi, kumbaga parang ang nangyayari to kapag halimbawa yung project is no longer the need for the project no longer exists. So yung nangyayari to kapag merong duplication ng projects. So kapag halimbawa yung project mo is not necessarily unique, nagkakaroon ng duplication, and for that hindi na siya kino-continue. The human or physical resources are no longer available kapag wala ka ng available resources such as yung manpower and siguro yung mga places needed for that project to go on, and the project is terminated for legal cost or convenience, especially kapag siya ay grants. So minsan pag nakakita sila ng technical legalities related to that project that is subjected for sanction, so hindi na siya kino-continue. Even, pwede pa kayong kasuhan for that. The project drive change from a business perspective, a project is aimed at moving an organization from one state in order to achieve a specific objective. Before the project begins, the organization is commonly referred to as being in the current state. The result of the change driven by the project is described as the future state. So, paano ba nangyayari yun? For example, you have this current state. So, for that current state, nag-propose ka ng isang project. So, the project activities or your milestone includes activity A, B, and C, and so on. So, for that milestone, you will get a future state where you get the objectives, you reach your expected output, but ang consequence niyan, when you move from current state to future state, you invested in time, at the same time in business value. So yung time, syempre meron ka mga milestone involved, so you needed time for that to move from your current state to your future state. At the same time, yung business value mo from baseline, starting from a baseline, tumataas kasi nagkaroon ka ng improvement from your current state. So that is how the project drive change. Nagigets ba to yung ano na to? Yung picture na to? So, ang movement niya is syempre pataas kasi yung business value mo is tumataas din. Okay? Next. So, project-enabled business value creation. So, business value as the net quantifiable benefit derived from a business endeavor. The benefit may be tangible, intangible, or both. In business analysis, business value is considered the return in the form of elements such as time, money, goods, or intangible in return for something exchanged. So the elements of so the example of tangible elements. Okay, so example of tangible elements. Sorry, ayun. So example of tangible elements, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina that something that it's physically present include yung monetary assets, stockholder equity, utility, fixture, tool, or market share. For intangible elements, that is goodwill, brand recognition, public benefit, trademarks, strategic alignment, and reputations. So for project initiation context, organizational leaders initiate project in response to factor acting upon their organization. So they have to meet regulatory, legal, or social requirements, satisfy stakeholder requests or needs, implement or change business or technological strategies, create, improve, or fix product processes or services. So as you can see, these are all the project initiation contexts to produce a project. So effective project management. So first, you have to meet business objectives. Yung dinidiscuss na natin kanina. Satisfy stakeholder expectations. So kung meron mang mga kulang sa iyong organization, you have to suffice that with the satisfaction of the stakeholders. Be more predictable, be straightforward, increase chances of success, deliver the right product at the right time, resolve problems and issues, response to risk in a timely manner, optimize the use of organizational resources, especially kung yan ay internal funding, identify, recover, or terminate failing projects kasi it will entail more resources and using a lot of resources can be a negative effect on the project or in the organization rather. Manage constraints, scope, quality, schedule, costs, resources, balance the influence of constraints on the project, and manage change in a better manner. So kapag poorly managed project naman or the absence of project management, you have missed deadlines, cost overruns, ibig sabihin you are so yung cost overruns meaning you are spending more than it is allotted. So poor quality ng implementation ng project, rework will cause additional time, uncontrolled expansion of the project, loss of reputation for the organization, unsatisfied stakeholders, and failure in achieving the objectives for which the project was undertaken. So effective and efficient project management, the project results to business goal, compete more effectively in their market, sustain the organization, and responds to the impact of the business environment changes on project by appropriately adjusting project management plan. So meron pang kulang dito, yung to include sustainability. So magkaiba yung sustain the organization and sustainability. When you say sustainability, how are you able to sustain yung naging output mo based on the end of the project? So kailangan meron continuous process yon from the end of the project. When you reach your expected output, should be included yung sustainability of that particular output. So we have defined yung project kanina, but let me just discuss first yung lalim ba ng isang project. When you say, ano ba yun? Yung term is yung scope. Yung scope ng isang activity for it to be called a project. So in the definition, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Explain natin kanina. Scope, project have defined objectives. Scope is progressively elaborated throughout the project cycle. Change, project managers expect change and implement process to keep change, manage, and control. Planning, project managers progressively elaborate high-level information into detailed plan throughout the project life cycle. Management, project managers manage the project team to meet the project objectives. Monitoring, project managers monitor and control the work of producing the products, services, or output that the project was undertaken to produce. And the success is measured by product and project quality, timeliness, budget compliance, and degree of customer satisfaction. So these are all explained in a brief manner what project is. So let me go on to the program. Another scope wherein yung the difference between those two, yung project and program is mas malaki ang kanyang scope. And a program consists of 2 or more projects. So a program is a group of related projects, meaning it is composed of 2 or 3 or more related projects. So hindi natin matatawag na program yung mga projects that are group lang pero wala silang commonality. So we call it a program when it is composed by two or more related projects. So subsidiary programs and program activities that are managed in a coordinated manner to obtain benefits not available from managing them individually. So for the scope, program produce benefits to an organization by ensuring that the output and outcomes of a program components are delivered in a coordinated and complementary manner. So change program are managed in a manner that accepts and adapt to change as necessary to optimize the delivery of benefits as a program component deliver outcomes and output. So yung base ng kanyang output or yung progress will be on the yung kumbaga yung takbo ng milestone naman ng projects. So programs are managed using high-level plans that track the interdependence and progress of program components. So for management, programs are managed by program managers who ensure that program benefits are delivered as expected by coordinating the activities of a program component. So meaning, parang ang overall, ano niya, yung na nagsisi or naglo-look for the progress of the projects are the program managers. For monitoring, program managers monitor the progress of the program components to ensure the overall goals, schedule, budgets, and benefits of the program will be met. So that's why they are they are a step higher compared to project managers. Kasi mas malaki yung kanilang scope. And the success, a program success is measured by the program's ability to deliver its intended benefits to an organization and by the program's efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, another term is the portfolio. So kung makikita nyo yung basic definition of portfolio is a collection of projects, programs, and subsidiary portfolio and operation managed as a group to achieve strategic objectives. So what you can see from this definition is that from a project, you have this program where it is composed by two or more related projects, and a portfolio is a collection of the projects and programs. So mas malaki yung kanyang scope. So the scope has an organizational scope that changes with the strategic objective of the organization. Change. Portfolio managers continuously monitor changes in the broader internal and external environment. So for planning, portfolio managers create and maintain necessary processes and communication related to aggregate portfolio. And management, portfolio manager may manage or coordinate portfolio management staff or program and project staff that may have reported responsibilities into the aggregate portfolio. And portfolio manager monitors strategic change and aggregate resource allocation, performance result, and risk of the portfolio. For the success is measured in terms of the aggregate investment performance and the benefit realization of the portfolio. So we have this program management. So program management is aligning with the organizational or strategic direction that affects program and project goals and objectives. So allocating the program scope into program components, ito yung kanilang mga responsibilities. Managing program risks that may impact multiple projects within the program, including yung sa mga delays or if ever merong pang problema related to the projects itself. For the project milestone, nagkaroon ng problema, we call it the managing, we call it the project program risk. So they have to manage it. Resolving constraint and conflict that affect multiple projects within the organization, internal man yan or external. So they are the ones who resolve these constraints and conflicts. resolving issues between projects and program level, managing change requests within a shared governance framework, allocating budget across multiple projects within the program, and assuming benefit realization from the program and component projects. Portfolio management, ang kanila namang responsibilities is to guide organizational investment decision, select the optimal mix of programs and projects to meet strategic objectives, provide decision-making transparency, increase the likelihood of realizing the desired return of investment, centralize the management of the aggregate risk profile of all components. So mas malaki yung kanilang responsibilities compared to a program management. Now, we have this operations management. So yung operations management naman is an area that is outside the scope of the formal project management. So, maaring ito ay short-term lang or maaring ito ay related lang sa operations and it is not under the scope of a project management. So, wala siya doon sa tatlo. Kung sa project, program, and portfolio, maybe a process only. So we call it operations management. So operation management is concerned with the ongoing production of goods and or services. It ensures that the business operation continue efficiently by using the optimal resource needed to meet customer demands. It is concerned with the managing processes that transform input and output. So, organizational project management and strategies. Portfolio management aligns portfolio with organizational strategies by selecting the right programs and projects, prioritizing the work, and providing the needed resources. So for the portfolio management, they have to select the right program, the right project, to which it is aligned with their objective or with the organizational strategies. For program management, it harmonizes its program, component, and control interdependence in order to realize specified benefits. So for program management naman, it is aligned with having a group of project that is also aligned with their objectives, pero ang kanilang goal is to realize specified benefits. For project management, enables the achievement of organizational goals and objectives. So for organizational environment, so portfolio review and adjustment, it comes first with a strategy. So ano yung ba yung mga kanilang objectives or ano ba yung kanilang gagawin for it to achieve a desired output. So for that, it goes to the portfolio value decision wherein they select a projects or program to result to have a result or to have a deliverables. So those programs will be subjected for a portfolio management, and then the programs or project that is outside of the scope of the project and programs, we call it the operation. That is when you have your business value realization. And then those operation comes back to form a strategy. So for project management knowledge area, we have the project integration management. Includes the process of the activity to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management process group. So for project scope management naman, includes the process required to ensure that the project includes all the work required and only the work required to complete the project successfully. So they are the ones who does the yung pag-identify ng mga activities needed. For project schedule management, includes the process required to manage the timely completion of the project. So they are the ones, parang they are the planning, kasi they used to monitor the effectiveness or the performance of the activity within a desired time. And then we have the project cost management, include the processes involved in the planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing, and controlling costs so that the project can be completed within the approved budget. So it's more of the financial side. And then the project quality naman includes the process for incorporating the organization quality policy regarding planning, managing, and controlling project and the product quality requirements in order to meet the stakeholders' expectations. So you're not just doing the activities, but you also have to include yung quality ng iyong project. We also have this project resource management, which includes the processes to identify, acquire, or manage the resources needed for the completion of the project. The project communication management naman include the processes required to ensure the timely and appropriate planning, collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, control, monitoring, and ultimate disposition of the project information. So itong project communication management is all about the legworks and then the part wherein you have to communicate with let's say management or kaya yung sa mga funding agencies or even dun sa stakeholders. So they are the ones who create this kind of communication or the link between those identified stakeholders or yung sa owner. So for the project risk management includes the process of conducting risk management, planning, identification, analysis, response planning, response implementation, and monitoring risk on the project. Usually, this project risk management is also aligned dun sa kanina sa project schedule management and the project quality management because part of their responsibility is to include the assessment of the risks and how they are going to solve that kind of risk. The project procurement management naman include the process of necessary to purchase or acquire products, services, or results needed from the outside the project team. So ito naman is more of yung sa supply chain side. So you have to the procurement process. And the project stakeholder management include the process required to identify the people, group, organization that could impact or to be impacted by the project to analyze stakeholder expectation and their impact on the project and to develop appropriate management strategies for effectively engaging stakeholders in project decision and execution. But at the end of the project span, o yung project time natin, project duration, you have to ensure that you have met the expectation of the stakeholder. That is your goal, and that is what this project stakeholder management is. Now, from this identified, 10 project management knowledge area, ilang tao kaya ang kailangan para dito? Anyone? For this 10, ilan kaya yung needed? Yes. May nagsagot ng 6. Mali pala yung tanong ko. Ilan yung minimum na tao na kailangan para i-gawin itong 10 na to? 10 knowledge management knowledge area. Yung minimum. Yes, ang sagot is isa. Kasi these are all the responsibilities of a project manager. So, ang minimum na pwedeng gumawa nito is isa. Kailangan siya ay meron ng 10 ito. So, for you to be a project manager, you must have this kind of knowledge or you experience dito sa pag-handle ng isang project. So for project management process group, we have the initiating process group. Those processes performed to define a new project or a phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization to start the project phase. So it starts with a strategy, as I mentioned before. So from that strategy or for that, kumbaga pag sa mga students naman, we call it the gap. We identify a gap. And then for in that gap, we have to make a feasibility study or a thesis. So from that gap, magkikreate ka ng isang thesis ko. We call it the initiating process group. They are the ones who try to identify what are the gaps or ano yung nagiging problem in specific areas. So for the planning process group, those processes required to establish the scope of the project, refine the objectives, and define the course of action required to attain the objectives that the project was undertaken to achieve. So from that stage, from the next stage, wherein you are already identified the gaps or the problems in an area, you must have a process in which you are trying to lay down the scope or ano yung mga activities na kailangan mong gawin or the milestone. Then after nun, we have this executing process group. Those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project requirements. So from the planning stage, wherein you already identified your activities or milestone, you go to the executing or the implementation of those activities. After nun, you have this monitoring and controlling processes group. Those processes required to track, review, and regulate the progress of the performance of the project, identify any area in which the plan are required, and initiate the corresponding changes. So after you are, kumbaga parang yung executing process group and the monitoring process are all, hindi naman sila yung from 3 to 4, but rather they usually in combine dun sa flow. So you are implementing at the same time you are monitoring what is the progress of your activities. And once you're done with these 3 and 4, you have your closing process group. Those processes performed to formally complete or close the project phase or contract. Okay, tapos na. So, ang question dito is sa project management group, kailan mo masasabi na tapos na ang isang project?
Pag na-achieve na po, tayo lang po, sir.
Sige.
Pag ano po, sir, pag nakuha nyo na yung, gusto nyong result dun sa project, for example, kunyari po yung sa, ano po namin, sa project po namin sa organization, which is yung sa YB po, like, ang ano po kasi namin is makakuha ng participant. So, ayun po, yung parang, dun po, parang pag nasatisfy nyo na po yung gusto nyo result, parang dun po mag-end yung project po.
Tama. So, masasabi mo tapos na yung project when you achieve your expected outputs. In that case, sa example mo, you have already target participants. Ganun ba yun? Parang you have achieved certain
Yes po,
number.
sir. Apa.
That is the end of the project. Meron pa bang iba na masasabi natin na ang isang project ay tapos na? Yes, Joel.
Sir, masasabi po na tapos na yung project kapag na-i-deliver na po siya sa customer. Especially kapag products or services po yung ginawa po nating project.
Actually, pwede din yun. So, yung sinasabi natin kanina, we end the project when we already achieve the desired output, product, processes, services. Pero pwede din yun na matatapos yung project kapag na-deliver mo na siya doon sa expected mo na stakeholder or doon sa tina-target mo stakeholder. So from your example, yung customer ang iyong stakeholder. Yes, June.
Sir, para po sa akin, connected din po doon sa sagot po nilang dalawa. Bali parang pong masasabi po natin tapos ng project based po sa sagot nila. Pero sa akin po, nagko-continuous pa rin po yung project kasi po gawa po ng mga other changes po na parang for more improvements pa po, sir.
Yes. So kaya yung kanina sa strategic natin, meron siya kagad na loop. So kung babalikan natin to, yung kung na-deliver na natin siya into an operation, babalik ulit siya sa strategy because you're trying to get another gap or problem in the area. So medyo continuous din. Yes. Any more? Paano ba natin masasabing tapos na ang isang project? Kapag may feedback na, yes. Coming from the customer, yung explain kanina ni Jewel, kapag na-satisfy mo yung customer and for you to identify yung satisfaction factor, you must have the feedback coming from your customer or from your stakeholder. Yes, kapag na-achieve mo din yung goal, one of the goal of the organization, pwede din yun na masabi natin na tapos na yung project. Siguro yung dadagdag ko lang sa mga masasabi natin tapos na yung project kapag first, tapos na ang project duration. So kapag meron yung dun nga sa ating sa planning stage, we already identify the activities. At the same time, they are the ones who identify ano yung time frame needed for those activities. Yung collection ng mga activities na yon with required time frame is called the project duration. Kapag na-satisfy na natin yung time frame in order to finish the project, we call it finish. Then, ano pa ba? Kapag ubos na ang resources. Kapag ubos na yung resources, syempre, kailangan tapusin na rin yung project. So, meron lang specific budget or monetary requirements for you to finish your project. And these are all being identified by the industrial engineers because we are the ones who done the executing side, the implementation side, the planning side of the project. So that's why we must know ano ba yung tamang budgetary requirements for a particular project. Okay. Ano pa bang pwedeng reason para masabi natin tapos na yung project kapag na-meet na natin yung objectives. So for that, that is the end of my discussion for the introduction of the project management. So meron ba tayong questions?
Sir, hello po.
Yes.
Tanong ko lang po sa project management. Yung project management po ba ay process or result oriented?
Actually, kung pagbabatayan mo is yung halimbawa mga research, ang ano niyan is result or result oriented or meron silang tina-target na expected output. So sabi ko nga kanina based on the 7 Ps. But in an organizational side, hindi lang siya nagsa-stop sa output. They must have this kind of improvement, whether it is tangible or intangible. So yun yung parang yung goals. Sagot ko ba yung tanong mo?
Opo, sir. Thank you po.
Yeah. Any more question? Okay, so going back dun sa ating discussion, nawala na yung construction. So going back to our discussion last time ay yung sa umpisa ng ating klase, yung ni-explain ko na project proposal, you must have this project proposal. And yung project proposal na yan, saan pumapasok dito yan sa project process group? Nasaan yung sinasabi kong project proposal? Anong stage yon? Pag-create ng project.
1 po.
1. Yes, up to stage 2. Yun sa planning and process group. Kasi, kumbaga parang initiating process group is more of yung brainstorming or collection of ideas. So, for you to have this kind of output, you must go on with the stage 2 or the planning process group. Where included na rin yung objectives, framework, gagamitin mong techniques or policies that will go to the implementation of the project, which includes also yung methodology, anong gagamitin yung methodology. At the same time, yung pinakamalaga, yung budgetary requirements. And the manpower requirements. Yung people, ano bang tawag namin dun? Yung people services. Yung how many personnel needed for that particular project. Yeah. So dito tayo sa number 2 lang. Mahirap naman tayo pumunta ng 3, 4, 5. Hindi na to project management. Thesis na yung gagawin nyo, kaya feasibility study. Okay? So, yun lang. Yung guidelines natin must be a group of 2 for the project proposal. Yung format, same time yung
Group of 2.
yung group with 2 members. So, kayo na yung mamili. At para komportable tayo, mahirap naman mag-grupo pa ako at hindi natin alam yung yung kung paano nyo gagawin yun. So, kasi since hindi pa tayo nakikita, wala tayong way para magkaroon ng communication except dito sa mga ganitong platform lang, yung mga online. So, kaya ang gusto ko, kung kayo man ay mag-grupo, yung komportable kayo sa kagrupo. Any more question? Ilan lang ang meetings natin? 6 meetings lang po tayo. We try to limit it 6 meetings. So siguro, yung mga last meeting natin or yung last meeting natin will focus on the mga sample project proposals that are being introduced. So tatapusin muna natin yung isa syllabus part ng subject and then we'll go on with the sa practice na natin. Kasi itong project management is a lecture and lab work. So we must have a desired output, which is yung project proposal. Okay? Any more question?
Meron.
Sir?
Yes. Apo.
Okay. Pwede po ba namin makuha po yung copy po ng PowerPoint po?
Yes. I-upload ko na lang sa classroom. Sa Google Classroom natin. Nakapasok na ba kayo doon? Okay, any more question?
Sir, yung magiging details po sa may project proposal, saka pa po nila i-grade ko kapag mga papuntang last meeting na po.
Medyo mahina, Tricia. Hindi kita marinig masyado.
Yung po sir, yung details po dun sa gagawin namin project proposal po sir. Kailan niyo po siya mabibigay sir?
Bibigyan ko kayo ng format siguro mga third meeting natin. Pero yung discussion about how to fill those formats, ibibigay ko sa last meeting natin. Mga fifth meeting. Bago kayo mag-present on the 6th. Okay?
Okay po sir, thank you po.
Okay, wala na bang question? Okay, may I request everyone to please turn on your camera para lang sa documentation. Na makita ko din yung mga itsura niya na. Nagsitabaan na kayo. Okay.
Or last na. Every week po ba meeting natin, sir?
Meron tayong i-utilize ko lang yung meeting natin. Siguro next week may meeting tayo ulit. Pero after a week nun, muna tayo, pahinga. Okay? Pasabihan na lang kita, Trisha, kung kailan yung meeting natin.
Noted po.
Sige. 1, 2, 3. Sapato, frame. 1, 2, 3. Sabanan ni Bricks, ah.
Si Mike po, sir.
Ano na? Sige. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you po,
Thank
sir.
you po.
Bye, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Sir.